Hey there, it is Tabitha Cora with Flapjack Educational Resources. Have you seen those class app type documents that look like websites and they're to inform parents and you update it with information and it's really cool and they tap around on their phones? Well, I began making those a long time ago and I've got a free one for you here, and I just want to share with you, this is a live that I did and I tried to edit it to save you time. Check out the timestamps as well. But if you've been wanting to do this and get it set up for free, then this is the video for you. Thanks so much for being here. Please like and subscribe and hope you enjoyed this tutorial. All right, so this is a free template. If you don't have it, if you're confused like what's going on, you get this free template. This is the first time ever that I've given away a full smart class website. Make sure you get this download to get started. And so I'm going to be, I don't want to say which, I'm just going to say that I kind of got burnt last summer when I shared a free template because people were being creative and modifying it to different things, which I have no problem with for personal use, but then they were going into groups and saying, look at this, here's the copy link, and so it's tough because this is what I do to feed my family, honestly. And so if you do something really cool and creative, it's for you, that's great. And if you want to share and let other people know, just give them the download link to the Apple template and then they can do whatever they want with it as well. I hope that you understand the internet can sometimes blow things up, and yeah. All right, so we're going to go ahead and customize the template. And like I said, you're welcome to do what you want with this, just keep it to yourself. So this is what the template looks like when you make a copy of it. And so what you have on the home page is the main thing to think about. And so even though there's like 29, you see on the side here, there's 29, I believe, different layout slides that you could choose that will be linked up to this home page. It is kind of like a website, which is why I call it a website. But you just want to make sure you can't have them all unless you can fit 29 apples on that home page. I wouldn't recommend it because you're going to have a very large Google Slides doc. It's going to need more internet, And anyways, but however you want to try to work it, you just need apples on this front page. They need to be on the actual page to work, to be linked up. And I have already linked everything for you. If you run into issues, sometimes people make tweaks and things like that and it doesn't link up anymore, you can just let me know. And I'll even, if you make me an editor, a lot of times I'll go in and fix stuff because it's usually just way quicker for me to fix it for you. But so each of these apples is linked to a different slide in the document. So this is really important, and I'm not going to try to bore you too much, but just so you know the way it works in Google Slides, when you click on this apple, normally if something's linked up, it's going to automatically show you the link, and you're not going to see that. That is because it's grouped. The apple is grouped with the text box, and when you group things in Google Slides, the link no longer shows up. So what you have to do is ungroup it if you want to go in and tweak links. So now I right-clicked, I ungrouped. Now the apple's isolated by itself, and you see that it is connected to slide 2. I would click the edit link if I wanted it to go somewhere different. Then if I click individually on the text right here, and I had to click on the blue line of the text box, then you're going to see that it is also linked up to slide 2. So I did a good job. I linked it up right. Now, if you're like, oh goodness, that's too much for me, I'm just letting you know why you can't see what it's linked to. So I'm going to group this back together. But you don't need to know where each apple is linked to. You just look at the title. So newsletter. This is the newsletter. Now this actually doesn't have a newsletter title, but you look at the icon right here on the apple, it's the same. So if we go to homework. So as long as you don't mess with anything, when you put this in presentation mode, when somebody clicks on here or taps on the homework, it's going to go to the homework slide. Okay, so Tara says, I have the most difficult time deciding what to include. I always want everything. Yes, and like I said, some of the other templates you could get more things probably on that front page. And these apples, you can reduce the size, you know, like this, and get more on there. But don't do what I just did, which was distort it. I have to hold down shift on a Mac. But the thing to keep in mind is that on a phone, which is the whole reason these templates are vertical and not widescreen, is because for me, getting this on parents' phones is going to be most beneficial. So if they're, you know, the store, they can check and see what Johnny has to do tomorrow. You know, when they have to go to a desktop, there's that extra step. And so anyways, that's why it's vertical like this, is because you want to get parents to access this on their phone. And so Google Slides doesn't automatically, it's not mobile responsive, so you have to pick and choose. Do you want it vertical like this or horizontal? Which I do the subplans horizontal, because more likely you're going to want to present it on an interactive whiteboard. But anyways, so that's, I'm just putting that in there so you understand why it's vertical, and you know that parents are going to be seeing this on their phones. So the bigger these buttons, the better. If you get too small, then they're tapping here and accidentally hitting a different page, so forth and so on. So Aaron asks, can this be used on a Google site? It absolutely can. In my Facebook group, I don't think I put that in the caption. I'll put the link to the Facebook group. I have tutorials on Google site. We're not going to get into it today, but yeah, you can embed this doc anywhere. Okay, do parents have to have Google Slides on their phone to open? No. That's the beauty of this, is that anybody can open it as long as they have the direct link and as long as you've done your share settings correctly. So anyways, and I think I made myself disappear. Let's see what happened there. All right, now I'm back. Okay. And then you guys are like already asking all my questions. You have amazing questions. Okay. Which is great. I won't have to answer them at the end. Is there a notification for parents when there's an update to the site? No. So what I do is I train my parents. You are going to need one more tool, one more piece to this, and that is some type of messenger platform. And I'll talk about that in just a minute because I have a slide that lists some ideas, but I used Remind. And so my parents knew on Tuesday, you're going to get the new weekly update text, and I would link, always link, even though I tried to train my parents to save this link to bookmark it on their phones, you know, I still put that link in the message so that they would could just get that message on Tuesday. They knew, okay, now this is the new stuff for this week. So I just trained them that way. And with Remind, you can schedule that. So I scheduled it, and I just made sure that I got things updated before that text went out. Let's continue. So basically I just said, you know, about linking up that front page, and you can move things around. So I would be doing more to show you how to edit, but I don't know if you can tell, like my Mac is saying, no ma'am, not today. I'm not going to let you do much. But what you would do is you just, like if you don't need the newsletter, you just take it, as long as it gets off the white rectangle, it's not going to show up. And then let's say you want to do recess, I'm just making this up, then you would put it in here, and if your computer was being nice, you would align it correctly, and you would be good to go. But it's not going to let me do it. Another thing that you can do, none of this is set in stone. So if you want homework page to say something different, it's just a text box. And just make sure you go to the homework slide, and you also go in there. And so I'm just going to double click into there, and I could make this be something like, you know, it could be math, whatever. So nothing is set in stone. I've just put what for the general teacher, what they might want. People have used this for all sorts of things, birthday parties, like, I don't know, like, you know, where they've used it for their shop, you know, if they have a store, TPT or Etsy, you know, like a catalog of sorts. You use this for whatever. It doesn't have to be just for parents. Okay. We're customizing the template. I did not get into a lot of that. The Facebook group, I'm telling you, has lots of tutorials on that, and I can always help you if you have any issues as far as, you know, but you can change the colors, you can change the background, you can change, you know, Google Slides you have to do with the fonts that they have right now. They still haven't made it like PowerPoint, but so you can, everything in here is customizable. All right, so we're going to try to add a Bitmoji and Animations. And I really shouldn't try this right now with my computer struggling, but let's go for it. All right. So what you have to do first is download the Bitmoji app, and so just Google Play or the App Store, the Apple App Store, and search for Bitmoji, download, create a Bitmoji, and you just have to have an email account now. You used to have Snapchat. Then what you want to do, once you have an account, a Bitmoji account, you've created that, you want to go, and this you want to do with a Chrome browser. I don't think you have to, it just makes it so much easier to use a Chrome extension. So if you're completely new to Bitmojis and stuff like that, there's Facebook groups, and I can help you in our Facebook group. I think I have a tutorial on it in our Facebook group. But basically you would just install the Bitmoji, and this is what it looks like. Up here you would install that extension, and it works in Google Slides, which makes it super fun. So once you have your Smart Class website doc open, just go up here, click on the Bitmoji, so you can just search. So you can say hi, and so that's one that I did. I actually looked for an apple, I searched apple. And this is the cool thing, is that with this extension, I'm just clicking and dragging it into the Google Slides, and it will turn it into an image file right there. So if you're a Bitmoji fan, this is how you can have Bitmojis all throughout. And you want to be careful with having lots of images. It just makes your doc need more internet. So just keep that in mind. Janice says, Bitmojis are so much fun. I used them for virtual stickers last year. Oh, that's awesome. I bet your kids love that. All right, so if one thing you can do, it's not advanced, but it's not necessary either. But if you just wanted to be like the cool teacher, you could animate your Bitmoji on like the opening page or any of the pages. But so every time your students or parents open up this doc, you're gonna animate. So to do that really quick, we will click on the Bitmoji, click animate, and so it always starts off right here with fade in, which is not the most exciting animation. So I'm going to click fade in, and I'm going to do, we could just do one, which is like spin, or let's just do zoom in. Not the most exciting one, and you can do more than one. Like you could have it zoom in, and then you could add a spin animation, and I've done that. All right, so let's just, and you can change how fast that animation happens or not. Let's do play, cross our fingers. Let's see what happens. So, oh, you know what I did, and I'm glad I did this mistake. On click. So you don't want it on click, you want it to just happen when they open up the website. So I'm going to click stop. Let's here on click, and just do after previous, unless you did want them to click or something. Now let's try it. Hopefully it should just, there you go. So you can play around with that, and anytime they refresh the doc, that animation is going to happen. So that was just a little fun, not necessary extra thing you can do. All right, so next we are going to do the essential boring part, which is the share link. This is the most important part. Maybe I said that about something else, but this really is the most important part to make this work for your parents. And once you've done it once, you're good, you're golden, okay? But what you want to do, and Tara, I hope you have fun with the animations. I'd love to see what you do with that. So what you want to do, the share link is what you give to parents, and it's got to not be set to private where they can't open it unless they had a Google account, which you don't want. That's going to impede things. You don't want that. So let me see those steps again, so we can do them together. First, change privacy settings, and then we got to tweak the URL. It seems complicated. It's not. So right here where the yellow button, it has a lock. That means if I was to share this with you right now, you couldn't open it. So we're going to click on that yellow button, go here where it says get link, click on the blue change to anyone with the link, and then right here it's changed to viewer. Restricted is what you don't want. Now I will say something, some school domains have this where you cannot change it to anyone can, well, I think maybe they have it to anyone can edit, so you should be okay. If for some reason your school domain, you don't have the option to change your privacy settings to anyone with the link can view, you may have to do this with your own Gmail account. Okay, some teachers have had to do that, unfortunately, or you could talk to your tech person, see if something can be done. Sometimes that obstacle happens, but all you need is viewer. Do not do editor. Do not do editor. Let me say that again. Do not do editor. Okay, or Bobby's going to edit. Okay, and you can always revert back and fix things if that happens. This was not in the training, but I want to make sure you know, just click on this timestamp. This is your version history. So last edit was 3 minutes ago. Just click on that, and then here on the right, find the last version that has your name. If somebody else edited it, you're probably going to see it say anonymous instead of your name. And so find the last one that you want, click on it. So let's say I wanted to go back to this one. I don't, because then my Bitmoji is not going to be there, but I would click restore this version. I just want to make sure I put that in there because inevitably it will happen even when you do like the settings correctly. Sometimes people can just get in there and figure it out. Okay, we did step one, which is change the privacy. Now the other thing, we just have to go up into the URL, and if you're struggling with this thing, with this part of it, you could just change instead of that whole text that you need to replace edit with, you could just do the word preview or the word present. But the reason that I like to share, trying to get this up for you, the reason that I like to share that whole thing, preview RM equals minimal, is because no toolbar of any kind shows up. So I think it will help eliminate any risk of students getting into the doc and editing it. So hopefully my internet will let me share this with you. So I'm going to go in here to the URL where it starts with edit. I'm going to copy all of that. Select it, delete, preview, and I could just stop here and be done. But RM equals minimal. Then I'm going to press enter and see if I did it right. Yes. So this is what happens, and as you can see, there is no toolbar of any kind. So the only way to move around the dock is by your Apple tabs. Now I'll show you if I were to just do preview, what would happen. Hopefully you can see at the bottom, you do have a toolbar, and they could click through that way. And then there's more, there's just more things here that make me nervous. Open an editor. I believe that they still couldn't do it, but that option's there. So if you can get it right, just put preview. Let's see, preview RM equals minimal, and do it like that. Now, as we can see, that share link is very long. And that's not going to be something that you're going to type out. So you may, you obviously can just, if you're sharing it online, it's no problem. It can be as long as it is because you're just copy pasting everywhere, right? But if you need to spell this out or wanted it to be something where if a parent needs to remember it, and type it into their browser, okay, then you want to use a link shortener customizer. tinyurl.com is one, bit.ly.com is another. Tinyurl, you don't need an account, but sometimes I hear people say they have trouble with it. I always teach that one, but bit.ly is free. You don't have to pay, even if it says anything, you don't have to pay. I've been using it for years for free, but you do have to have an account. And let's go to tinyurl.com. Well, first let's copy this. So just this is my link. This is my link to my doc. Go to tinyurl.com. Oh, the page is different. Oh, they have upgraded. Good job. All right, so I'm going to just paste that in here. And then here I'm going to go to alias, is just whatever you want to add to make it yours. So I'm just going to do I've already done this like a million times, so I'll probably need to pick a big number. Let's do 20. Senora Caro 20, make tiny URL. So then I copy it. And so hopefully if I did things right, tinyurl.com/SenoraCaro20 is going to redirect to the long link and to my doc. Yes. So we are so good. Patty says this will be so helpful with keeping my high school kids on track. Yes. Yes. Especially high school kids that maybe don't have their parents to look at this. Then they themselves can take ownership and use this and help you out. All right. So Jana says, I can see using this for so many things. Mini units for students that have all the steps and requirements. Yes. Make it easy for the little ones to follow as well. Yes, I love that. I've actually had considered trying to make this like where students could make their own and like do, you know, some type of presentation research, you know, because it's just an informational hub, basically. I never got around to it, but take this doc and do what you want with it. Like I said, you can do whatever you want with it. Just don't go around on the internet with it. Now let's bookmark and star your link. Okay, and optional bonus points for the overachieving teacher is to download the Google Slides app. You could edit on your phone. Little secret that I was definitely one of those bad teachers in school faculty meetings. So on Monday, so I think Monday was actually newsletter update days. So during faculty meetings, I had that Google Slides app. You just have to like pinch, you know, zoom in to get to the text since it's small on your phone. But I would like update my newsletter and send out the text to parents in the faculty meeting so that I could leave when I was supposed to be able to leave, so I didn't have to stay longer after hours. So yeah, I'm not suggesting that. I'm just sharing that the Google Slides app is great to have, you know, whenever you're not at your desktop. All right, so let's talk about Bookmark, and now that I confessed my sins right there, what do I mean Bookmark and star my link? What I mean is, the edit link. Now, you definitely want to bookmark this link in preview mode, but I'm going to just change this back to edit so I can get back into the edit mode. You want to bookmark on your browser, whatever browser you use. You want to click the star, and I already have it bookmarked, but if you're new to internet browser bookmarks, usually right beside the URL is some kind of icon for you to click, add that bookmark to your bar up here. So I've already done it, and I just named it Apple, but I mean, you probably name it something different. But so why would you do this? It's just time, efficiency, productivity. So it's Monday and you need to update it. You're not going into your Drive account. You're not, trying to find it, searching, all you're doing, clicking on that bookmark, and it's ready for you to edit. And the way Google Slides works, once the internet has taken in your changes, then automatically it's going to show up the next time somebody clicks on that link. So that's what I did, and it's so quick and easy. And you have a separate homework doc you may be interested in if your students, it just works the same way, but this one is widescreen, so you could show it on an interactive whiteboard. And so I would just bookmark that homework, and every day, before it was time for, while students had their agendas out and were writing their homework, I would go ahead right up here and update it, and they're copying what I'm typing. And then my partner teacher, we shared that same doc. So if I'm getting too complicated for you, just ignore. But for those of you who understand, like, she had editing rights on that same doc, so we're both were able to update homework at the same time. And we shared the same Smart Class website doc, so we were able to, she's put in her subject stuff, my subject stuff, and good to go, not having to ask each other, are you done with that Word doc? So no, it's just simultaneously we were updating the doc. Starring your link is just here in Google Slides, right here. There's a star right up here by the title. If you click that on your phone, on the app as well, on the left sidebar, there's a section that says starred. And that's one way on your phone where you don't have your bookmark, right? You may not have it bookmarked. You could get into the app the Google Slides app and easily find it. Parents on board. This is critical and crucial to whether this doc is a game changer for you or not, is if parents get on board. So thankfully, for at least, I shouldn't have said, not thankfully, but in the United States, I think most of you will be able to have an in-person open house. You know, wasn't that way last year, but some of you may not. Still, however, virtually, whatever, talk about this link and talk about how it's going to make things so easy that parents are not going to have to take all the time to write you an email about homework or assignments or field trips or things like that. They're going to be able to just tap on the link. You have two resources for getting parents on board. You have a printable handout, and you have a business card. If any of you guys are like, like to do Vistaprint, or you like to print things out. I did magnets before. It's just, you have that option, but definitely not necessary. I didn't do it every time, but this is the business card template. Okay, so once you edit your information, you would just go to File, Download, most likely PNG, because PNG is an image file of higher quality, and so you're probably going to need that high quality for the printing company, and then you would just upload it like in Vistaprint, wherever it says to upload your business card design. So you have that, but then the most simple thing is just the handout right here. All of this is customizable, so you can make it say what you want. Just make sure the red you need to change, but if you don't want to change anything else, you don't have to, but the red is your link. So just change that up, print it out, or send this to them, just share it with them and get them on board. And that's what's going to be key to you saving a lot of parent headache when it comes to this stuff. All right. So I think we are then going to talk about really quickly the messaging platforms, which I already mentioned. But yes, there's no way within Google that I know of that when you update, it's going to send parents a message. And honestly, you don't want to typically, because you might be just updating one little thing here, one little thing there. You want it to be once a week. Parents know they're going to get a message from you somehow with your share link, and now it's time for the new week to look in and see what's going on. So I used Remind. I think all of these are pretty much free. I used Remind, Class Dojo, and Seesaw. I've used those. These all have messaging capabilities with parents. And then there's Blooms, and then Class Tag. I've not tried either of those, but I know that they're pretty popular. Let me know what you have used, if it's something different or the same. But and there's tutorials on this in the Facebook group and in the doc. So I'm not going to go into it because I've talked way too long already. But this is going to be one more piece that you will want to add, so parents know when new information is updated. Erin says, do you have to send a new link when you update, or does the same link work as you update? The same link works. So the only issue, and I wish I had done things a little bit differently, but if you end up getting a different theme of mine, a lot of times you're going to have to either create a new doc or copy and paste the new design into the old doc in order to preserve that same link. Now, another thing that people say, well, I need record of, like at least the newsletter page slide, I need record of that. So when I update it and, parent says, oh, you didn't say we had this or that, and then I have no proof because I updated. Well, you can do the version history if you wanted to. Or before, let's say you're going to update the newsletter, you can just did you see what how I did the business card and I downloaded it as an image? Then you can actually do that. Let me get back to edit. Just for that one newsletter slide, or whichever slide that is your important updating slide. So slide 2 is the newsletter slide, so I'm just going to click on it, make sure it's selected here in the sidebar, go to File. Before I was to change it for the next week, go to Download. If you do PDF, it's going to download the whole website, which maybe you just want to do that. But if you just want that one slide, then do JPEG or PNG, and then drag it into a separate folder, which could be like newsletter archives or something. That way you have that proof, if you need it. and just for future reference next year, so you can know, okay, this is what we were doing, blah, blah, blah. I think, let me see, we got anything else to do? I think we're pretty much good. Trying to remember. Oh, I'm just going to show you Google Classroom, and I'm just going to show you. I have more thorough details in the Facebook group, okay? But Google Classroom integration, because I always have people say, well, where do I post it into Google? Now, Google Sites is different. You would embed it with the embedding code, and I'm not going to do that, but the tutorials in the Facebook group. But for Google Classroom, does anybody use Google Classroom? If you do, here's just some ideas. You could, if you like to make your own header images, right here, you could put in the URL right there in the header. But, you know, it's not clickable, so you could put it in the stream, and then, you know, every week you put it in the stream again, just as a reminder. You can move it to the top if it's not at the top. I'm not proficient with Google Classroom at all. I just know this is a big one that people ask. But then a big place to put it would be here in classwork in the left side where you have these topics. Then you would just create material, and you would just put the title, the link, and then post it, and then it should show up right here. So tap the card, post it a new material, Smart Class website, and find all the important information at Smart Class website doc, and there's the link. So that's another way to just keep it front of mind in Google Classroom for those of you who use Google Classroom. So Tara says, how often do you update it each week? So for me, I was primarily using this for I don't know what, there we go. Okay, for like the weekly newsletter, but I did also have like my content pages, which I would update for like tests, like what to study. So for me, I taught 4th grade when I was using this, so it was a weekly thing, and it was just part like of the newsletter. Now homework was different, but I used a separate Google Slides doc, which you have that if you want it, and I just did that separately because I needed it to be landscape for interactive whiteboard. But if you don't need it because you're not going to be showing up in front of students, you can just house that inside the Smart Class website as well. So, and Janice, thank you. You can email the link to parents through Google Classroom as well. Good to know. Thank you. All right. So, thank you guys so much. I think that that's all I was going to share with you. But as I've mentioned a million times, I have a Facebook group, and I don't think I put the link up there, but in my Facebook page, there's the button up there at the top is for this group. Join it, and there you can ask me questions, and there's a lot of tutorials in there on Smart Class website, but also on digital resources, other stuff I do with Google Slides, that lots of freebies as well if you'd like to join.